This spring, I met a 7th grader who missed 3 big assignments. Not because he didn't care, not because he wasn't smart, but because he didn't know how to start. His teachers thought he was indifferent, his parents thought he wasn't motivated, but what no one saw was the real issue silently sabotaging him from the inside. Hi there, my name is Presh, and I share tips and tricks to help families and students feel less overwhelmed and more in control. If there was one thing I wish every parent and educator knew, it's this. Many students aren't failing school because they don't care or they're unmotivated. They're failing school because they haven't developed systems that work for their executive function skills like planning, organizing, and following through. And the older they get, the more society expects them to figure it out without ever being taught how. So how does this actually look like in the classrooms? Let me show you. To better understand what executive function challenges look like in the classroom, let's first define what executive function is. Executive function, or EF for short, is like the CEO of the brain. It manages your ability to focus, prioritize, manage your time, regulate your emotions, follow through, and more. Without learning these skills, even the smartest kids look distracted, disinterested, and lazy. For example, many of these students may forget to turn in homework on time, not because they don't care, but because they struggled to find the assignment digitally or physically. They may also forget to study for an exam, not because they're lazy, but because they haven't created a system to track test dates and create soft deadlines to build that pressure environment for them to start studying. And lastly, they may seem disengaged in class, not because they don't want to participate, but because they can't organize their thoughts fast enough to ask the question or to respond in class. These are students who may also be diagnosed with ADHD, autism, and other neurodevelopmental disorders. And while these everyday struggles may seem very small, they're actually part of a much bigger problem. When executive function challenges go unrecognized, they quietly build into something far more serious. For example, they're deeply connected to emotional burnout, failing classes, and school dropout rates. The Journal of Psychiatric Research found that 33.2% of students with combined type ADHD dropped out of high school compared to just 15% of their peers without neurodevelopmental disorders. This 2x increase highlights how unrecognized executive function struggles are and how they're creating a much broader educational crisis. But here's the good news. Executive function skills can be taught and developed. My team has worked with hundreds of neurodivergent students, and this is the recipe for success that we found. 1. Build connection by genuinely learning who they are in and out of the classroom. 2. Develop trust through care and empathy. 3. Meet them where they're at on how they are navigating through their EF challenges, and do this judgment-free. 4. Co-create a roadmap that they believe in that gets them towards their end goal. And last but not least, be their cheerleader at every step of the way. If you're interested in seeing how any of this looks like in action, I will link a playlist in the description or one of these sides. Each video in the playlist will dive deeper into an executive function challenge like disorganization, poor planning, time management, and more. And it will also show you practical tools that you can use to coach your student or your child on how they can start to develop these EF skills that best work for their brains. With that, let's stop labeling kids as lazy and start asking better questions. Because when we do that, and when we support their executive function skills, then we stop the cycle of struggle and start building real progress. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Peace!